With a couple of years of sim racing behind me, paired with the fact that I do a lot of GPU testing, I've noticed that there's not that much content connecting these two subjects, and I would really like to change that, starting with this. Hi guys, Matthew here and welcome back again to my channel. Here right next to me is the new RTX 3060 Ti graphics card series, a selection of them rather. If you want to know which one of these performs the best, go check out my dedicated video about them. But for this time I'm going to stick with the RTX 3060 Ti in general and in relation to some of the most popular sim racing games out there. Ones that I play, like the iRacing and the Assetto Corsa Competizione. Uno pizza, one pineapple. Or meat pineapple. One is German. Ah well. I'll try to make this type of video with every new GPU series, and once I hopefully manage to cover all of the latest series, Ampere and of course the new Big Navi from AMD, that is their ongoing RX 6000 series at the moment, I will also make sure to round all of it up in a single video for overall performance overview. With that said, I wanted to check out how this mainstream graphics card series performs in all the popular titles that have a sim racing note to it, titles like iRacing, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Formula 1, Dirt 5 and so on. I think you get the picture. Since this is not your regular testing, as there are a variety of user case scenarios when it comes to monitor setups in sim racing, I've decided to run through them all, at least the ones which are most common, so you get a better grasp with what we are dealing here. Unfortunately, I do not have a triple monitor setup, but since I have a 4K monitor, I can simulate a triple 1080p monitor resolution setup in the overall pixel count, while for the triple 1440p monitor setup, I would try to interpolate results from my 4K resolution testing, as the difference in the pixel count is around 28% between these two resolutions. It is an estimation, but it should be a pretty good one. For all of you out there who are playing at 1080p high refresh rate monitors, you'll be happy to hear that even at high settings in every game possible, you'll be getting well above 120 FPS, which is not a surprise considering how much power this GPU offers compared to previous generations. It's even stronger than an RTX 2080 Super or GTX 1080 Ti. Moving to a multi-monitor setup based on this resolution, so that's a triple 1080p monitor configuration and it's 5760 x 1080 resolution or 6.2 million pixel count. I made a custom 3840 by 1620 resolution on my 4K monitor, so it has the same pixel count and corresponds to the performance demand that this triple 1080p resolution has. Looking at those results, with the RTX 3060 Ti series you can count on crossing 100 FPS mark in some games, while lowering the graphics settings down will bump that up even further. Jumping back to a single monitor setup with a 1440p resolution, the RTX 3060 easily goes through each game, spewing out good FPS numbers, making it definitely worthy of a high refresh rate panel. It managed to deliver anywhere from 100 to 200 FPS depending on the title and settings. Again, to get some kind of performance insight, I've used the 4K results and interpolated them to check out the rough performance estimation for a triple 1440p monitor setup, that being a pretty substantial 7680 x 1440 resolution, which is, as I stated before, around 25% more than the 4K resolution itself. You can get a decent amount of frames with lower settings, but other than that, you would probably need something like the RTX 3080 or RX 6800 XT to get high enough frame rates for taking advantage of a high refresh rate monitor. Moving on to the 4K results, in most cases the figures were below 100 FPS line, which is generally speaking good for most users, but in terms of the sim racing it's not enough, as more and more drivers are going for high refresh rate monitors, although in terms of 4K resolutions there's not that many affordable models in this segment, so it's probably not that widespread at the moment. Lowering down the graphical settings does help a lot in majority of titles, but it falls short in terms of reaching that 144 FPS mark. This resolution and its results are also a good indicator for all of those ultra-wide 21:9 monitors, which are also popular with sim racing setups, like for example this LG's latest 38-inch 1600p 144Hz model. But in relation to this RTX 3060 Ti GPU series, you'll have to go with something a bit stronger than it. The current ultra-wide gaming king, Samsung's G9 with its 32:9 aspect ratio, also has just a bit lower total pixel count than a standard 4K monitor with its 5120x1440 resolution, so playing on it is still viable on less demanding games like iRacing and lower settings, but have in mind that this is an even faster 240Hz monitor, so for you to take the full advantage of that, you'll have to have a beast of a configuration. I actually got my hands on one, unfortunately after I was already finished with testing this GPU, but I'm already aiming to try it out with Sapphire's RX 6800 XT Nitro Plus. Be sure to subscribe for that one. As you've probably noticed, the difference between high and low in-game graphical settings can deliver a pretty big performance jump, but although this will help momentarily in getting those extra sweet frames, it can do the opposite in terms of your driving turning points, braking marks and so on, because you are losing details, which then removes the possibility of you finding different cues on the track itself. Of course, every game here can be tuned in separately even more, as there are a lot of graphics mods and tweaks that can improve performance. It's all about finding a good balance between every aspect of the game, so I'm hoping maybe to implement some of those too in my future testing, while this was a good baseline to start off something like this. All in all, the RTX 3060 Ti series seems to be a sweet spot for sim racing in combination with high refresh rate single or triple 1080p or single 1440p setup, although with the current pricing, which is far from original MSRP because of the current market situation, it's hard to make the same conclusion with a straight face, but once that hopefully and eventually levels down, I think it will be a pretty common choice for sim racers who want to keep it within a reasonable budget, but still get plenty of performance for hitting that apex as precisely as possible. That's it for this time for me. Thank you once again for watching. If you find this helpful, please take a second to toss me a thumbs up because that really helps a lot. And if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe. And if you already are, be sure to press that notification bell down below so you don't miss out on a new video. And until then, catch you later guys.